Growing up, my grandfather's farm was my second home. Endless fields of corn stretched under the open sky, and the days felt slow, golden, timeless. My brother and I spent our summers there, running through the pastures, feeding the animals, and listening to Grandpa's stories on the porch as the sun dipped below the horizon. It was the kind of place that felt safe, except for one thing. At the far edge of the farm, past the rusted barbed wire fence and the grove of skeletal trees, sat an old well. Its stone walls were cracked, blackened with age, the wooden frame leaning like a broken spine. It looked ancient, forgotten, but Grandpa never forgot about it.
His only rule was simple: stay away from the well. As kids, we listened. We never got too close. And when we asked why, he'd just shake his head and mutter, "Some things are best left alone." I didn't question it, not until years later. Life got in the way, as it always does. I grew up, moved away, got caught up in the grind. Visits to the farm became less frequent, then stopped altogether. Grandpa got older, the farm quieter. Then one night, I got the call. A stroke. He was in the hospital, unresponsive. The doctors weren't sure if he'd wake up, so I went back. The moment I stepped onto that porch, something felt off. The air was thick, heavy. The house smelled stale, untouched. Dust settled on the old furniture like a burial shroud. I should have stayed in town, gotten a motel, but some part of me thought sleeping in my childhood room would be comforting. It wasn't. That night, I woke up to a sound I hadn't heard in years, a creaking, long, slow, rhythmic. It was coming from outside. I crept to the window, heart hammering. The yard was bathed in moonlight, stretching toward the distant tree line. And there, at the far edge of the farm, the well, the rope and pulley, broken and rotted for decades, were swaying. The bucket dangled over the black void, rocking ever so slightly. The wind was dead still. Then the rope jerked. I stepped back, my pulse a dull roar in my ears. And then I heard it, a voice, thin, brittle, like dry leaves whispering against stone, calling my name. I wanted to turn away, but something pulled me forward, like a thread tugging at the back of my mind. I don't remember walking outside, but I remember the cold, the way the night pressed in, thick and damp, the smell of earth, of something old, something rotting. I stopped a few feet from the well. The bucket had gone still. The rope hung limp, silence, but the air felt stretched, like something was waiting. Then a hand rose from the darkness, gray, withered, fingers long and wrong, bones pressing against thin, papery skin. The nails cracked, curling like claws. It twitched, reaching for me. A voice gurgled from below, wet, strangled. "Help me!" My breath caught, my feet locked in place. Then the hand lurched forward. I ran until my lungs burned, until I was back inside, bolting the door, locking the windows, but the whispering. It was inside. Software clawing at the edges of my mind. "Help me." I left before dawn, didn't go to the hospital, didn't tell my parents, just got in my car and drove. I don't know what my grandfather knew, but now I understand. Some things are best left alone, and I will never go back.